Sorry I'm late on this. I've been working on scripts for a couple other videos that I can hopefully get out soon. Also been reworking the bathroom in my house, but sometimes it's hard for me to get time to record and edit a more edited video, and I just smacked the mic. My bad. If you're interested in a particular Visions episode, I have chapters in the video for each one. Anyway, let's move on to how I rank the Visions Season 2 shorts. Starting with, in my opinion, the worst going to the best, it is Episode 8, The Pit. This episode was just Like, I had a feeling they were kyber crystals that they were looking for. But like, as the episode kept on going on, and they kept on digging deeper and deeper, they didn't think about digging themselves a way out? No ramp, anything? That's just kind of weird to me. Maybe it's the stormtroopers like saying, hey, you gotta go down, but I'm pretty sure we saw areas to walk up and down in the pit before. And then when the main character gets out, people really didn't understand what he was referring to the pit. Like, it's not a couple miles away and there was no one else that saw it? I will say, them killing that character, that was brutal, and I did not expect it. I could have swore the civilians was going to save him right before that happened, but no, they did not. Overall, it was a nice story, but it just wasn't for me. Coming up next is I Am Your Mother. This episode was alright. It's kind of like Wallace and Gromit, but it's Star Wars. Also kind of like the hint at I'm your mother, I'm your father, that's kind of neat. Mom did have amazing taste in music. And before we get to the overall story, it's kind of funny that Wedge is kind of like an influencer, but it's basically about a mother dragging her daughter, who is a pilot, into this race. Basically because she hates this other lady. They get into the race and they eventually win after the daughter says that she's embarrassed of her mom. There's a whole emotional arc there, and then we finish with them winning. Kind of predictable, but I will say I like the Easter eggs like the Death Star laser and the Mando weld helmet. That was kind of cool. And I think the main bad girls were like in a blacked out Nubian. At least that's what it looked like to me. It was fun, but I don't know if I'll have the want to come back and watch it. This was interesting. I think from here on up are episodes that would actually want to go back and watch. Having a stormtrooper specific dining and entertainment like Wallace, that's such an interesting concept. Also, another interesting concept is a fat stormtrooper. We don't see those anywhere else. I'll say before it was revealed, I knew it was a con. I mean, it is called a spy dancer, but the reveal was pretty nice, I will say. I will say, I don't think I've hated a villain more than the guy who took her son. As someone who's been a father for 5 months, there's no comparison to anyone else. And this is including Space Hitler. Okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but you know what I mean. She definitely had to have some sort of force sensitivity to pull off those moves. I mean, she is just a baller. And I will say that I had a literal oh shit moment when we realized that it was her son that was the Imperial agent. But yeah, a sweet story with a cool premise, but I think it could have had a stronger impact if it was a series rather than a short. But hey, they did what they could with what they had. Overall, kind of cool spy story, but there's better ones in this season in my opinion. In the Stars was kind of stop motion-y, but it allowed for so much detail in every single shot that it was so good that it looked like every single shot could be a wallpaper. Especially this one with the TIE fighter close to the beginning, it just looks so good to me. And I like how the stop motion for the characters was moving at a different frame rate compared to the water and the other background or landscape elements that were moving faster. So it was really cool to see the contrast with the overall environment and the characters. And the whole like background story of the planet is so good. It's very similar to how Mandalore was bombed to glass. It gave me the same similar vibes there. And of course the kid pulled the classic ignore doing what they're told. Kind of annoying, but of course I kind of knew it was going to happen. Stormtroopers and the Imperial officers looked so good. And I kind of like how the main baddie was basically an ATST, much like this episode from Mandalorian Season 1. Very cool story about two sisters basically taking back their planet, although they are the last two remaining, and the ending is actually kind of sad. Here's where I think we get into the really good episodes from this season. The whole idea of Ao basically being able to connect to the Force through song is so cool. It really makes me want to see some other means to connect to the Force. It's just such a unique idea, and I hope it gets considered more in the future. Just having some different ways to connect to the Force, whether it's like through art, painting, kind of like we see in this season, and also through song. Ao also just looks so cute, and the whole overall aesthetic of all the characters are just so cute and lovable. But in contrast, Korba is just such an awesome looking world. The whole design of it is great. And then towards the end, when we see the visuals of her purifying all of the crystals on the planet, it was just so beautiful. The story itself isn't really complex, but I think the best part of this episode is just the overall design and visuals that we see. There's better stories and worse episodes that I'm ranking, but just the overall look of this episode just makes me love it so much more. Now this just basically reminded me of Don't Starve. It's simple, but elegant, and it's just still so beautiful. And the overall story to this one is kind of reminiscent of this episode from season 1. Having a Sith twist at the end is just so good in these shorts that we get in Visions. I will say the ghost, or rather the Sith that Dal kills, is actually something out of Nightmares. The whole style of that was actually kind of bone-chilling. And the lightsaber action scenes actually looked pretty amazing. And the Sith that Dal goes with at the end is just horrifying looking. Like, I get you want freedom, but I mean, nothing's gonna good when you follow that thing. The animation style in Bandits of Golak is so detailed. I love it so much, and I love the story. It's basically like following someone after Order 66. But the difference here is this girl wants to use the Force for mainly fun, honestly. She just wants to live her life and have fun with her brother. But he's the one kind of looking after her and making sure that she's safe. And it's kind of cool seeing some Easter eggs from races from Clone Wars as well. Like, basically this is Terra Sanube, right? I'm not losing my mind here. The music during the action scenes were absolutely fantastic, and this Inquisitor is so terrifying. The music when he arrived went crazy as well, and his 2 guards look badass too. And then he got just whomped. This old lady knew what she was doing, and the little flute ending was pretty sweet. As in an aw way, not like a sweet. Like, okay, anyway, continuing on. This is the most anime episode of this season. It's very reminiscent to some of the episodes in season 1. But again, we get another badass Sith design. If there's very few things taken from these Vision seasons to actual canon stories, it's the design of Sith beings, and also the ways to use the Force. Also, his ship looks pretty badass too. The slight hint of yellow in the boy's eyes after his vision in the beginning was a very nice detail. The lightsaber fights are pretty clean as well, although some people are probably upset about this part. And going back to the Sith's design, he has like a scorpion metal tail thing? I don't know what it is, but it's so cool. And the whole idea of these prophecies that this group that the main character was with at the very beginning, the whole idea of them like kind of collaborating and keeping the universe's stories is such a cool idea. And of course the prophecy that she was reading is what she was going to be a part of in the end. From his background, kind of predictable, but it's a great touch. And towards the end, the Jedi and Sith reveal of being kind of one and the same in a way was also a really cool idea. And then my favorite episode, which I'm kind of not surprised by, is Sith. I love the whole abstract style and environment. It's just so unique and cool. Also, the robot design is very unique and not like anything we've ever seen in Star Wars from what I can think of. Having the protagonist have such high detail but the environment is so minimal, but as she moves around she can add color to the world is such an interesting idea. It's really like we're looking through her eyes, and then once she gets interrupted by the Sith later, reality comes crashing down. The character is an artist like Sabine, which is nice to see Force users like focus on something that's not the Force. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I can do this thing, but my passion is with something else. We don't really get that much in Star Wars. It's always about, ooh, I have the Force, I'm the chosen one, or ooh, I have the Force, I need to save people. As I was watching, I literally couldn't get over the style. This company needs to make a high-profile movie in this style. It's so fun and entertaining. I could get how people wouldn't like it though. And once again, we get a badass looking Sith. They're like a combo of Malak and Malgus with the whole mask idea. I love how when the Sith showed up, the character continued to renounce the Sith, and after she turned down what we found out later to be her old master, and after this everything got its color as she was pulled out of basically her own world. I will say one of the stupider things in this episode is that she forgot her lightsaber, of course, but I will say that like her Utapau-esque speeder was really dope. Of course when the robot was shot, we knew it wasn't going to die, that's kind of a given, but the lightsaber effects were so cool, and the curved lightsaber blade was such an awesome idea. And the Sith's blade hilt was so badass. I've said that a lot about this guy, but it seems like she can change what her surroundings look like to not only herself, but to others as well. It's either that or I'm thinking way too much into it. And then she had the double-sided curved blade. Ugh, amazing. And to polish it all off, the mural she made at the end was just amazing. I would actually have that mural in my home. But yeah, that's how I rank the episodes in Vision Season 2. Let me know your rank and how you rate every episode in the comment section below. If you like this video, please give me a like and consider subscribing. I kind of went off the cuff on some of these episodes, so hopefully it's semi-coherent, but apologies if it's not. Take care, and may the Force be with you.